Let's be clear from the start. Kindness by itself is not enough to survive in this world. If you think being a good person is enough to achieve success, you're living in a fantasy. And the worst part is that you know it, even though you refuse to accept it. How many times have you felt like others are walking all over you? How many times have you done the right thing, and instead of receiving recognition, you've been ignored or, even worse, used? You've been taught that being good is enough, that honesty and nobility are rewarded, but the reality is different. The world doesn't reward the good, it rewards those who know how to play their cards well, and this is where Machiavelli comes in. Machiavelli understood something that most people ignore. Human nature is selfish, fickle, and cruel when necessary. In The Prince, he made it clear that virtue without cunning is a weakness, that goodness without strategy is a trap. And now tell me, how many times have you fallen into that trap? Think about those you admire, those who have achieved great things. Do you think they got there only with good intentions? No, they got there because they knew how to move in the shadows when necessary. Because they understood that morality is not an obstacle but a tool. Knowing when to show it and when to hide it is the difference between being a player and being a pawn. The problem is not that you are good. The problem is that you don't know how to protect yourself. You believe that others are playing by the same rules as you, but that's not the case. The world is full of predators disguised as friends of opportunists who can spot naivete from miles away, and you, without realizing it, have been the perfect target. This is where Machiavelli offers you an alternative, intelligent kindness. It's not about becoming a villain. It's not about betraying your principles. It's about understanding that kindness must be accompanied by a deep understanding of reality. It's about learning to read people, to foresee their intentions, to know when to trust and when to keep your guard up. Machiavelli said that it is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both, and you. What have you chosen? Surely you've chosen to be loved, to be accepted, to be seen as harmless. But tell me, what have you gained from that? Not respect, not power. What you've gained is that others know they can use you without consequences, because kindness without strength doesn't inspire admiration, it inspires pity. Don't get confused. I'm not telling you to stop being good. I'm telling you to learn how to be good without being naive. Understand that the world doesn't reward the just, it rewards the shrewd. That true virtue is not submission, but the ability to balance ethics with pragmatism. Machiavelli taught that image is everything. It's not only about what you are, but also about what others perceive you to be. If you give the impression of being weak, they will treat you as weak. If you give the impression of being strong, they will treat you with respect. How many times have you allowed others to disrespect you out of fear of losing their approval? How many times have you stayed silent to avoid conflict, only to realize that this makes you lose more than you gain? It's not about being cruel, it's about being strategic. The key is knowing when to act, when to speak, when to retreat, and when to attack. Kindness is an advantage when used correctly, but if you let it go unchecked, it becomes your worst enemy. The mistake of many good people is thinking that the world values purity of heart. It doesn't. The world values power, security, the ability to make tough decisions. Kindness is only respected when it's accompanied by authority. If you don't have power, your kindness is irrelevant. Machiavelli would tell you not to be a lamb in a world of wolves, not to let your morality turn you into a slave. True virtue is not submission, it's intelligence. It's not about passively adapting, but about shaping environment to your favor. Think about it. How much longer will you let the world walk all over you? How much longer will you be a victim of your own naivete? I'm not telling you to stop being good. I'm telling you to start being good in a way that benefits you. Learn to move in the shadows when necessary. Know when to smile and when to show your teeth. Because the world isn't fair, but you can learn to play by its rules and still remain true to yourself. Machiavelli didn't write The Prince to teach you to be evil. He wrote it to teach you how to survive. And now tell me, are you going to keep living in the illusion that kindness is enough? Or are you going to start applying true intelligence? And here comes a concept that very few understand. The perception of power. It's not enough to be strong, you have to appear strong. It's not enough to have intelligence. You have to project it, because in this world, reality matters less than the perception others have of you. Think about this. How many times have you seen an incompetent person go farther than a talented one? How many times have you seen a manipulator rise while a noble and hard-working person remains stuck? This is no accident. People don't follow the good or the just. They follow the one who seems to be in control, the one who knows how to manage their image, the one who projects authority, the one who, even though they don't have all the answers, acts as if they do. And this is where many fail. They believe that the truth by itself is enough, that true competence will speak for them. But the world doesn't work that way. The world doesn't reward those who are right. It rewards those who know how to sell their version of the story. Machiavelli understood this perfectly. It's not just about what you are, but about what others believe you to be. Perception is everything. An insecure leader doesn't inspire confidence, even if they're the most prepared. A worker who doesn't know how to make themselves noticed will never be promoted, even if they're the best. A man or woman who doesn't project value will never be desired, even if they have a lot to offer. That's why the key is not just in being, but in mastering the narrative about yourself, learning to control your image, to create the right impression in every situation. It's not about deceiving, it's about directing the attention of others to what you want them to see. Think about this. In any social interaction, people don't perceive reality as it is. They perceive it through filters of assumptions, prejudices, and emotions. And the question is, are you letting those filters play against you? Or are you using them to your advantage? If you're good but seem weak, they will treat you as weak. If you're just but seem soft, they will trample on you. If you're talented but seem insecure, you will be ignored. It's that simple. The art of perception is what separates those who control their destiny from those who are controlled by others. And here we enter a darker but necessary area, the control of information. Have you ever wondered why the most powerful always seem to know something that others don't? Why do those who dominate the game always seem to have an advantage? The answer is simple: because they know when to speak and when to stay silent. Naive people believe that absolute honesty is a virtue, that always saying what they think and sharing everything they know is the right thing to do. But in reality, information is power, and you can't give away power without consequences. Machiavelli said that a prince must know how to hide their true intentions, not because they should be a liar, but because in a world where everyone seeks an advantage, the one who reveals too much becomes vulnerable. Learn to control what you share, to say only what's necessary and nothing more, to maintain a certain mystery, to make people wonder what you really think. Because the moment you become completely predictable, the moment others can anticipate every move you make, you lose any strategic advantage you might have had. The greatest players in history, in politics, business, art, or any field understood this. Strategic silence is as powerful as speech. Think of someone you admire, someone with real influence. Are they someone who says everything, who exposes themselves completely? Or someone who always leaves something in the shadows, who always has a hidden card? The problem with many is that they confuse transparency with weakness. They believe that if they don't reveal everything, they are being dishonest, but it's not about lying. It's about controlling the flow of information to your advantage. Think about this. How many times have you spoken too much and it has hurt you? How many times have you trusted the wrong person, revealing something that later turned against you? How many times have you given explanations that no one asked for just to justify yourself to people who didn't even deserve it? Power is not in speaking more. Power is in knowing when to speak and when to stay silent. And here comes the big lesson that almost nobody applies. The one who speaks the least, the one who explains the least, is the one who commands the most respect. Why? Because silence creates uncertainty. Uncertainty creates curiosity, and curiosity gives power. If you always say what you think without a filter, people will lose interest. If you always explain your actions, people will assume you need to justify yourself. But when you only speak when necessary, when you choose your words carefully, when you leave room for interpretation, people will start paying attention to you for real. And here comes another fundamental concept, the art of unpredictability. Predictable people are easy to manipulate. If you always act the same way, if you're always predictable in your responses, emotions, and decisions, others will be able to anticipate you. They will be able to use you. But when you're unpredictable, when people are never sure of what your next move will be, you become dangerous, and when you're dangerous, they respect you. Machiavelli understood this better than anyone. A leader who can be read like an open book is a weak leader. But a leader who maintains a certain level of mystery, who changes when necessary, who never lets others label them, that is the leader who stays in power. And now the question is, do you want to keep being an open book that anyone can read, manipulate, and take advantage of? Or do you want to start being a strategist, someone who controls their image, their information, and their unpredictability for their own benefit? Because kindness without strategy is just an invitation to be devoured. The world doesn't change its rules for you. So learn to play with the rules that really exist, not the ones you've been made to believe. And if you do it well, if you apply what really works, then for the first time, you will stop being a victim of the system and start being one of the ones who dominate it. But here comes the most interesting part, the art of strategic distance. Many believe that the key to power is to always be present, to be omnipresent, to make yourself noticed at every moment. But the reality is different. The one who is too available loses their value. Scarcity creates desire, absence creates impact. Think about this. Why do certain people generate more respect just by being present, while others, no matter how hard they try, never seem to impose authority? The difference lies in the perception of their value. Machiavelli said that a prince should avoid becoming too accessible, not because they should disdain their people, but because excessive familiarity destroys respect. When you're always there, when you give without measure, people start taking your presence, your effort, your generosity for granted. And this doesn't just apply to politics or power, it applies to relationships, work, life itself. When you give too much, you become disposable. When you're always available, you become of course, not a person of value. Think about it. How many times have you given everything for someone just to have them not appreciate it? How many times have you been there for everyone only to be ignored when you need it? It's no accident. It's human nature. What is abundant is despised. What is scarce is valued. And that's why you must learn to regulate your presence, to dose your attention, to manage the perception of your availability. Don't always respond immediately. Don't always be within reach of everyone. Make your absence noticed. Make your presence weigh. Because when you learn to disappear at the right moment, when you learn to regulate your energy, people will start looking for you. The problem is that most people fear disappearing. They fear that if they step back, they will be forgotten. But here's the brutal truth. If your only way of being remembered is by always being there, then you were never truly valuable. Those who really have an impact are not the ones who shout the loudest, but those who know how to handle silence, who know when to withdraw and when to reappear. Look at any great figure in history. The real players are not everywhere. They don't wear themselves out in every battle. They show up when it really matters, and when they do, everyone pays attention. And this brings us to another key point. Emotional control as a tool of power. Here is where most people fail. People believe that control is based on strength, on aggressiveness, on imposing themselves with a loud voice and clenched fists. But true mastery, the one Machiavelli understood better than anyone, is in the absolute control of emotions. Because the one who loses control, the one who reacts impulsively, the one who is carried away by anger or anxiety, becomes predictable, manipulable, and weak. Think about the last time someone made you lose your cool, the moment you got angry, the moment you reacted without thinking. Who had the power in that situation? It wasn't you, it was the other person, the one who threw you off balance, the one who provoked your reaction, because the one who controls your emotion controls your actions. And here is the key: the one who can't be provoked, the one who maintains their center no matter what happens, that is the one who truly has power. It doesn't matter if it's in a discussion, in a negotiation, in a relationship, or in any social interaction. The one who maintains emotional control always wins, because the one who controls their emotions controls the perception others have of them. Machiavelli made it clear: a prudent man must act at all times with coldness and calculation. It's not about not feeling. It's about not being a slave to what you feel. It's not about being a reactive animal that anyone can manipulate. And if you apply this correctly, you become impenetrable. Others may try to get under your skin. They may try to provoke you, but if they can't move your center, if they can't predict how you'll react, they lose control over you. Here's the truth: those who really dominate the game are not the strongest. They are the ones who remain calm while everyone else loses their head. And this leads us to the final key point: the power of strategic patience. Most people want immediate results. They want success now, respect now, power now. But what Machiavelli taught, what the great players in history have applied time and time again, is that true power does not belong to those who act impulsively, but to those who know how to wait for the perfect moment to move. The world is full of people who rush, who act without thinking, who make decisions without considering the long-term consequences. But those who really control the game know how to wait. They know how to observe. They know how to calculate. Think of a hunter. They don't shoot at the first movement. They observe, measure the distance, wait for their prey to be in the exact position. Only when the moment is right do they strike. This is the game of power. It's not always the one who moves first that wins. It's the one who moves at the right moment. Machiavelli said that fortune favors those know how to adapt to circumstances. It's not about running in every direction. It's about knowing when to accelerate and when to slow down. Mediocre people act on impulse. Strategists wait for their opportunity. And now I ask you, are you one of those who rush in without thinking, or one of those who waits for their moment to strike with surgical precision? Because in this world, power does not belong to the fastest. It belongs to the smartest, to those who know how to handle perception, information, distance, emotional control, and strategic patience. And if you apply all of this, you will stop being a victim of the game and start being a true player. The world will remain ruthless, but now you will know how to play by its rules. But here comes what truly makes the difference between those who just survive and those who dominate their destiny: the ability to become an anomaly in the system. Because now you understand that kindness alone isn't enough, that perception is everything, that emotional control is a tool of power, that strategic patience beats impulsiveness, and that scarcity increases your value. But what good is all of this if you keep acting like everyone else has until now? If you want different results, you must become someone who doesn't conform to the traditional rules, not in the sense of breaking them without purpose, but in the sense of rewriting the script. The problem with most people is that they think within the limits that have been imposed on them. They follow the same patterns. They react as expected. They move within what is acceptable or expected. But those who truly leave a mark, those who change the game to their advantage, are the ones who dare to be unpredictable, to play with new rules, to do what no one expected. And here's the big secret: the world is designed to devour those who conform. If you do the same as the rest, you will get the same results as the rest, and that means mediocrity. That means being another forgotten name in the endless flow of time. The only way to win is to step out of the mold. Be the one who acts differently, the one who doesn't react as others expect, the one who always has a hidden card, the one who is never completely understood or anticipated. Be the one who, when they speak, people listen because their word is not cheap. When you learn this, something changes within you. You realize that you were never weak. You were simply not playing with the right strategy. You realize that people haven't been ignoring you because you're not worth it, but because you never knew how to project your value. But now you know, and knowing this is dangerous, because the moment you apply it, there's no turning back. The moment you start controlling your presence, your image, managing information as a tool, using silence as a weapon, you will start noticing how the world reacts differently to you. The people who used to ignore you will start paying attention to you. Those who used to underestimate you will begin to wonder what changed in you. Those who used to manipulate you will begin to fear making a move against you, because you are no longer the same. Now you are someone who understands how the game board works, and here comes the most important decision. Are you going to apply this, or are you going to return to ignorance? Because what separates those who thrive from those who fall behind is not knowledge, it's action. You can stay here with this information floating in your head as an interesting but harmless idea, or you can start implementing it. The choice is yours, but I warn you of something. If you go backward, if you keep acting as you did before, you will do so with the awareness that you're choosing to be invisible. You're choosing to remain ignored. Or you can start changing now. Small movements, small trials. Apply some mystery in your interactions. Control your urge to speak too much. Respond calmly instead of reacting emotionally. Retreat at the right moment. Observe silently instead of rushing in without strategy. You. Small actions that over time change the perception others have of you. Small actions that when you least expect it will have transformed you into someone who can no longer be ignored. Because the world doesn't remember those who just existed. It remembers those who knew how to play the game. And now tell me, are you ready to play it? If you've made it this far, I want to know who really understood the message. Leave the phrase "power is in the silence" in the comments. and let's see how many of you have understood what it truly means to move with strategy. And if this video made you question something, if it made you see things from a different angle, subscribe, because this is just the beginning. See you in the next video, and remember, don't be another player in the system. Be the one who writes the rules.